Hey guys, so today I will be reviewing Season 2 of Nightfall. Nightfall is a History Channel drama that originally came out in 2017. It stars Tom Cullen as the main character, the Knight Templar Landry, and now includes a very special name, the famous Mark Hamill, to play as Talus, one of the other Knights Templar. Just to warn you guys, this review will have spoilers. Overall, I felt Season 2 of Nightfall was a significant improvement over Season 1. I thought the acting in Season 2 was great, and I really felt the storytelling was much more compelling in Season 2 compared to that of Season 1. I thought they were able to capture the medieval theme and the medieval setting pretty well. I personally really liked the inclusion of the Knight Templar Ks2 Draft. He was the last Grandmaster of the Knights Templar, and I thought his inclusion in the show was pretty cool. The biggest draw to Season 2 of Nightfall, at least in comparison to Season 1, is the inclusion of the legendary actor Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker himself, as Talus in Season 2 of Nightfall. I myself was a huge Star Wars fan growing up, and I still am right now, and to see an actor like Mark Hamill be included in a smaller History Channel show like Nightfall, to me that was the entertainment news of the year, and I was just so excited. And I was not disappointed with how things played out. I think Talus is, in my opinion, the best character of the entire season. Mark Hamill's performance just truly carries every scene that he's in, and he just has such a charisma to him that throughout the entire season I was just constantly looking forward to seeing Talus and to see Mark Hamill's performance. Last year, I watched The Rise of Skywalker, and I wasn't really a fan of how Disney treated Luke Skywalker, like many other Star Wars fans, in the new sequel trilogy. So I actually enjoyed his performance in Season 2 of Nightfall far more than I did Mark Hamill's performance or Mark Hamill's character in the new Star Wars sequel trilogy. Season 2 of Nightfall was much darker and brutal than Season 1, and it was done in such a way that just made this show a lot more gripping. For example, in the last 2 episodes, I thought the scenes where King Philip is humiliating and torturing the Knights Templar was just so hard to watch. Especially the opening scene of the second to last episode, where he's making the Knights carry the cut firewood and they're chained up to their own execution site. I felt was the ultimate humiliation, and it was just really tough to watch the protagonists of the show go through that. It was very sad and something I definitely couldn't forget for quite a while. Still, the show was not perfect. For example, there were some things that happened throughout the season that just didn't really seem that believable or realistic to me. For example, at the end of the season, I thought Gawain's change of heart, where he betrays and turns against King Philip, did not seem very believable to me because of how ruthless and brutal he was portrayed throughout the season. Similarly, I thought that in the last episode, despite how badass Mark Hamill is, and despite how badass of a character Talus was, in the last episode of the season, he basically takes on this entire wave of the King's soldiers. I think there was about 10 or 15 of them, and he kills all of them with nothing more than his own sword. And they don't even show him actually fighting the soldiers. They show the soldiers running toward him, and then it cuts away, and then it cuts back to Mark Hamill just standing over all their dead bodies. And to me, despite how badass of a character he is, for an old Templar like that to essentially wipe out like 10 or 15 or so of the King's soldiers just did not seem very realistic or believable to me. I think they threw that scene in to the end of the show to kind of end Mark Hamill's appearance on the season in just a way that was totally badass, or what that was supposed to be totally badass, but it just didn't seem like it worked to me, just because of how unrealistic it seemed. I think that you can make the argument that Episode 8 shouldn't even have existed in the first place. I think ending the show as Episode 7 ended, with the Knights Templar burning at the stake, it definitely would have been sad and somber, but I feel like it would have been a bit more fitting given how things actually played out in real life. I think episode 8 definitely seemed more like a cliche Hollywood-style ending that didn't really feel as right as it would have felt if they ended the season and the show with episode 7. Now, as a Nightfall fan, I have to say that I'm pretty disappointed that the show's ratings were not very good for season 2. Despite being a significantly better season than season 1, the average episode for season 2 attracted only about half as many viewers compared to that of season 1. And it's pretty disappointing, especially considering the fact that Mark Hamill was a part of season 2, and I thought, okay, maybe that will, do something to boost the ratings a bit. But that wasn't the case, and unfortunately, because of that, I'm thinking that this is probably the last season of Nightfall we're going to get. Overall, I really enjoyed season 2 of Nightfall. While it wasn't perfect, I felt it was a significant improvement from season 1, and I felt it was very similar in terms of style and in terms of quality to that of History Channel's flagship TV show, Vikings. I think the overall improved story, as well as the inclusion of Mark Hamill, were two of the several factors which really helped take Nightfall to the next level in season 2. My final verdict on season 2 of Nightfall is a 4 stars out of 5.